Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wealth Journey. In this video, I'm going to break down and show you, hopefully in a simple way, what my plan is from now going forward, year by year, talking through the key milestones and give a bit of detail as I go through. So let's jump straight into the spreadsheet and go through what it's showing. First off, I'm now 31 years old. I know, hard to believe, must have had a hard paper round is what you're thinking, I know. Anyway, jokes aside, I currently have just over 200 shares of Tesla. But for the purpose of this, I'll keep it simple and just have 200 so people can follow through and understand. As you've seen in my latest portfolio update for June, I have over £100,000 invested in the market in value. So what I've done here is put in an assumption that Tesla, which is around 98% of my portfolio, will grow at 30% a year for the next 5 years. Now, it might be that for the next 2-3 years, the share price doesn't budge much or grow at all. But then in 3 years, it grows by 100% or 700% that we saw in 2020. But for the purpose of this model and keeping things simple, I've assumed 30% a year growth each year for the next 5 years, which I personally think is low, but others will think is too high. Between now and when I hit 35 years old, I plan on putting £1,000 a month into the stock market, so £12,000 each tax year. This is shown in the shares bought column. Now, I could have put it in that I'm buying them at a blended cost across the year each month, but to be conservative, I've assumed that I'm buying them at the price at the end of the year, which includes the 30% increase in growth. Therefore, I'm doing myself and the numbers in the spreadsheet a slight injustice. There's one final column to look at here, and that is the pot value column. That's the second to right column here. This shows the value of the pot in today's money. That's after taking into consideration 2.5% inflation each and every year. So just remember that the cost of goods, so a pint of milk, a loaf of bread, goes up each year. Therefore, £1 today is not worth £1 next year. It's worth about 98 pence. Therefore, this column allows me to keep things relative to today's cost. The next 3 or 4 lines within this table are quite boring. The price of shares go up by 30%. I add and put £12,000 worth of stocks in a year, and the pot grows in a linear fashion. The next, or first key milestone really, is when I hit 35 years old. Now, my aim is that when I hit 35, my ISA pot will be somewhere between £300,000 to £350,000 in value. As you can see here, it shows it being at £334,000. This is my first point on my checklist to move forward with my plan to stop working and go travel and do what I want with my time and not have to worry about coming back and having to get a job. If I hit this amount in my investment pot, the majority of which will be in my ISA account at that point, so any gains that I make are going to be tax free, won't have to give a penny away, then I'll move on to having 2 years where I let the pot grow and I'll live off some of the savings that I have in this house that I'm living in right now. So at this point, when I'm 35, I won't be buying any more shares. I'll just be letting the companies that I'm invested in work for me and increase in value. What I've said here is that the growth rate will drop down from that 30% to 18% a year for the next 6 years. The plan here is to be invested in good quality dividend growth stocks such as Home Depot, Lowe's, which I've covered on this channel before, Domino's, as well as others, just to name a few, that grow their dividends at double digits each year. I've calculated that the money I have in my house right now will allow me to live off it for around 18 months without having to touch the ISA pot that I'm showing here in the grid. So if we look at the dark green highlighted row here, this then shows me actually selling shares, and I'm selling them in one hit each year at the start of the year and using that money to live off. Now, I won't strictly do that in practice, but as I'm modelling and trying to articulate my plan here, I'm trying to keep it simple for everybody to understand and get to grips with what I'm doing. Now, the column right at the end of this table shows what the value of these shares sold at in today's money. So, as you can see here, 18.9, 19 shares sold when I'm 37 in 6 years' time. That equates to £41,400 then, but if you work that back and incorporate 2.5% inflation each year, that is worth the same as £35,700 in today's money, for reference. This is all tax-free as it's held within my ISA account. So, what happens is that over the next 18 years after I'm 37, I continue to draw down, selling stocks, earning dividends, until I hit 55. Once I hit 55, you'll see a grey highlighted row. At this point, I'm able to take a 25% tax-free lump sum of the value of my pension pot and also start taking from the pension at that age. What will happen is then potentially two things. One, I'll be able to use that 25% lump sum that I take out to live off for the next 2 or 3 years, leaving the ISA pot to grow and not draw down from it. Secondly, I can then start to use the tax-free allowance that I get from a pension to top up the figure that is in the final right-hand column to equal what I've been used to having as income for the previous 17 to 20 years, the £40,000 that you can see here. Now, I have planned all this out, and I am, in the short term, reliant on Tesla share price growing in the next 4 to 5 years, very short term. That is the main thing that determines if I'm actually going to succeed or not, really. I'm still putting in every year that I can, but I need appreciation from the market. Now, I have managed to go from zero to £100,000 investing in the stock market in around 2 years now. I'm a little under a third of the way to my goal of that £350,000 in my ISA. I do hope this video has been interesting and might have sparked some thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts and challenges in the comments below. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be working on a video around early retirement and how to budget for it, breaking down a few considerations and my thoughts on it. If you've liked this video, please drop it a like and subscribe to the channel to see more of my content. But until next time, stay safe.